Now I'm going to install the nozzle assemblies. I've cleaned them, got a new copper gasket. They tell you don't reuse the old one. Alright, before I tighten anything, I want to put the injection lines on so I know where these should be turned before I tighten up the bolts. Alright, these come pre-bent from the factory, the same ones that were on it when I took it apart. The reason I want to leave these loose is so I can get this, how this fits together for a perfect seal. So I want everything perfectly in line. And when I put the nut on, that will lock that in the right position based on how it's all curved, and hopefully give me a good seal. Because they were weeping a little bit from when I put them on last fall. Well, actually it was about a year ago now. There, you see, should have put the back one on first. You see the alignment there. If I were just to tighten this down, it would be off a bit. You see the angle, it might leak, might put extra stress on this, the tube, where it might break. So just push it up there. It'll self-align once you put the nut on. The nozzle assembly will. You see I can turn it. And I am turning it just a little as I tighten that nut up, just to try to find the center. Okay. Now I'm going to snug these lines, just some, just to make it all line up. Alright, looks pretty good. Now I'll snug up these retaining bolts a little. Now I'm no specialist at any of this. I'm just learning as I go what I read in the manual and what my perception and intuition tells me. My mechanical background. And common sense, and so far it's worked out. Now I need to see what the torque spec is for those 4 bolts. Nozzle holder mounting bolt. 11 to 15 foot-pounds. All right. Now these smaller bolts with that lower torque, you're not going to hear as loud a click as you did when I did the head bolts. Right there. Now I got to keep checking those a few times as that copper gasket will compress as it sits, so I'll check them a few times. Okay. Tighten these up. Now, if you notice, I am holding up under here, so when I'm pushing down to tighten, I'm not just putting all the pressure down on that nozzle. Just hold up a little. There. Tighten it. Now, if you're just pushing down, you might bend it, break it. Break it wouldn't be a good thing. Alright, next I'm going to do the valve cover. I made sure I wiped it out. I blew through the breather. Make sure nothing crawled in there overnight. You don't want any spiders in it, you know, like one of the car manufacturers recalling their cars because spiders got into brake lines in the hydraulics. So, you don't need anything foreign in the valve cover. And I'm going to get it on there because at this point, something's waiting to jump down through there, causing me to have to take it apart. It's Murphy's Law, so I'll get the cover on there and hopefully avoid that. I always try to keep something in the intake inlet. In this case I have paper towels stuffed in there. Yet another area where you could never fail, you drop something, in it goes. Now in this case you could probably just take it off and get it, you know, but still. And there's always that chance something falls in there you don't know fell in there if you didn't have it plugged, and then when you went to start it, you'd suck it in the engine and take out a valve, take out a piston, take out the whole engine. Okay, according to the manual, the valve cover bolts aren't specifically listed. They have standard bolt lists here. And they are 8mm M8, and they are 4T. So they're saying 113 to 156 inch-pounds. I'm going to do 140. I got my inch-pound torque wrench here. It's already, I just set it. 140. There is no specific sequence. To tighten the bolts, I started from the center and worked out. And I did snug them all pretty good before all of them, and then I came around and clicked them at 140. I don't like to bring them all down just right at once. You know, bring them down a little bit and then go. Alright, so I put a new fan belt on. Got everything tight. You gotta really make sure you get this nut and bolt tight at the bottom. That's the main mount where it pivots. If you don't get it tight, it'll rack a little bit, and then you get a false sense of being tight. And they're looking for about 3/8 to almost a 1/2 inch deflection. So I'm going to put the end against this guard and the other end up on the belt. So now I'm getting that. It's not pushing too hard. It's actually getting, that's going to be a little too loose. Yeah, it's getting hard to turn over now because I have the injectors in, the cylinders are sealed. You know, the other thing that'll give you that is if a pulley is running out. Yeah, that's too loose. You don't want it too tight, or you'll wreck the bearings in your new water pump. You're going to have to just loosen this a bit here, just to move it. Give a pull out on that. Tighten this back up here. Yeah, I think I'll go with that for the time being. sure everything's tight. Alright, the next thing I'm going to put on is going to be the radiator.